Welcome to the Personal Pension Radio Podcast, where it's all about helping you complete your financial journey to retirement. Discover time-tested strategies and get unconventional insights into wealth building and retirement that actually work. Break away from the herd and go for the retirement you dream of. And now, here's your host, the income engineer, Kraig Strom.
All right, welcome back to Personal Pension Radio. This is Kraig Strom. You heard it. I am the income engineer. If you hear a little raspiness in my voice this time, this episode is being recorded the day after my autocross program with my club. We do a car racing program in a gigantic parking lot, and I am the hostess with the mostest, so I'm jumping around all over the place and talking to a lot of people and talking a lot more than I normally do, which is a lot already. So raspy voice is the result. Today will be a short stuff segment for that reason. Actually, I've got some really great interview episodes coming up. So be sure to check those out in just a week or so. They're coming out. Now, because it's a short stuff segment, jumping right into the quick disclosure, I am not an attorney. I am not a CPA. I am a certified financial planner professional. With all that said, please don't act on things that you hear on my show or any other show for that matter, especially financial entertainers. Don't act on things that you hear as if you're hearing advice for you specifically to go and act on. Meet with a qualified, certified financial planner to talk about your specific situation first. Then you can get some really tailored and crafted recommendations. And yes, selfish plug. I would love to be that financial planner. Send me an email, Kraig with a K, at kraigstrom.com. Now, jumping into the short stuff segment. This actually it's kind of gut-wrenching for me to hear this, but because I've been 21 years in this world of financial services, I've heard this more than once, sadly. But I want to share this because you've got to pay attention to the reality of life. We don't like to get up in the morning and put our pants on and our socks and shoes and get ready for our day and think, oh, something bad might happen to me today. We are human beings. That's a natural response. We don't want to think about these big, ugly scenarios. The sad part is they happen, and they happen to people right around us. Sometimes they happen to our own family. And in this case, this is a nice young lady that I met. I'm going to call her Samantha. I met her through a local CPA. Now, Samantha needed help with some property that she had inherited, but that's all I knew until we talked on the phone. And wow, was I in for an earful. Oh my gosh. Samantha's dad had passed away over 4 years ago, suddenly from a heart attack. Generally, as I understand it from Samantha, generally a pretty healthy guy, but all of a sudden was gone. Now, shortly after her dad passed away, now within months, Samantha's last remaining grandparent, her dad's dad, passed away. So far, sad, but not complicated, right? Oh yeah, completely wrong. Super complicated. Here we go. Samantha's father had not been married and only had one daughter, Samantha. Samantha's dad, let's call him Frank, had been dating someone. Let's call her evil girlfriend. Samantha was in her early 20s when her dad started dating evil girlfriend. She did not know that Frank, her dad, had made evil girlfriend the trustee and executrix. The executrix manages the will. A trustee manages everything that is put in a trust. The executor or executrix manages the overall estate of a person, and that would be things that are outside of a trust. So the evil girlfriend is the trustee and executrix of Frank's estate plan. Frank had a significant estate. He'd worked really hard in his life. According to Samantha, Frank was a very ingenious and busy and hardworking guy. Had significant assets consisting of real estate, stocks, bonds, cash. The total value was over $4 million. $4 million. Frank's mom, right, Samantha's grandma, had passed away over 10 years ago. Frank's father was now in his 90s. Grandpa, now in his 90s. Grandma and Grandpa had also amassed significant net worth. Their net worth was over $5 million, which consisted of mostly rental real estate they had purchased when real estate cost nothing. You could buy houses for less than cars cost today. But they purchased a long time ago over the years, and Grandma and Grandpa had built up some nice asset value. They had one son, Frank, and their living trust left it all to Frank. So far, so good. Frank has a living trust, and the grandparents had a living trust. So what's the problem? Sounds good, right? Well, Frank's estate plans had been written many years ago and left the majority of his estate, if he were to die, to Samantha. Okay, still, what's the problem? No big deal. The grandparents' estate plan left it all to Frank. Sounds good. You guessed it. Evil girlfriend and a sudden heart attack throws a major wrench in things. Because Frank died 4 years ago from a heart attack, less than a year after Frank died, Frank's father died. Frank died before his 90-year-old dad. Frank died. And then Grandpa died. Frank had named evil girlfriend as trustee and executrix of his estate. Grandparents now dead meant their estate passed to Frank's estate. And who was in charge of Frank's estate? But the evil girlfriend. Long story short, for the short stuff segment, evil girlfriend absconded with millions because the money from mom and dad pays to Frank's estate into his basic estate plan, which is she's the executrix of the assets that are not in his living trust because he didn't receive them before he died, which would have possibly given us a chance or given someone a chance to roll them into the trust position to pass on to his daughter. But bottom line, he was gone, left everything unprotected. And now the inheritance rolls in from Grandma and Grandpa because Grandma and Grandpa, the grandparents' estate plan, was not updated with contingency provisions to bypass evil girlfriend, was not updated properly to perhaps go directly to granddaughter with special provisions to protect her asset inheritance. What about Frank? Yes, his plans should have been updated also. Absolutely. He could have granted evil girlfriend a life estate, which meant she could have stayed in the house, for example, that she wouldn't be kicked out on the street. Could have given her life insurance if he qualified. He could have given her enough to make sure that she was okay. Instead, he just sort of left his plans unamended, unchecked, and left evil girlfriend in charge. Now, the nightmare could have been absolutely avoided with a simple estate plan update. What I mean by that is, if you're listening to this and if you are that parent who has an estate plan that was drafted a long time ago and it hasn't been updated, you haven't double checked your beneficiaries, you haven't corrected your beneficiaries. Let's say you wrote your living trust and your will, your estate plan back when your grandkids were 13 years old and your grandkids are in their 20s now. You really should update your contingent beneficiary declarations. You should update those things. You should get those things done. And that's where I can come in to help. I actually work with a fantastic law firm. I am a certified financial planner professional. I'm also a paralegal with an awesome law firm behind me that we can do estate plan reviews. We can do brand new estate plans, wills and trusts and powers of attorney. And I have a special discount for my listeners that we can actually get you taken care of for a living trust, considerably less expensive than most attorneys charge. So, if you haven't taken care of the review of your current plan, or you haven't even done your living trust and your guardianship provisions, oh, there's a big one I've just got to stop and touch on. This one, everybody gets this wrong. So I'll use California as an example. If you have young children and you and your spouse die, who would you like to be the guardians of your children? Well, who will be the guardians of your children? Who would you choose? Maybe your sister, your brother? Oh, I love Cousin Rhonda. No, it is the county family court system in the county you live in if you do not have your trust and your wills and your guardianship provisions written down and notarized and stamped. If you don't have that done, the state and county you live in has a default provision that says your children become wards of the county, and then your family can come in and spend thousands of dollars with lawyers to argue as to why they should be your children's guardians. Dang it, just write it down. I mean, it costs less than $2,000 in most cases to get a full-blown estate plan and make sure that your children are protected and make sure that their guardianships are done right. Okay, enough on that rant. Back to the evil girlfriend. What's her current status, right? Because Samantha finally received some of the real estate from the assets that had been given to her, but she only received a fraction of it because evil girlfriend had all the money from dad's estate and all the money from grandpa and grandma's estate, and Samantha had no money because evil girlfriend controlled the checkbook and dragged her through court with money that Samantha didn't have to fight her. Samantha didn't have all the money to fight evil girlfriend. She had the checkbook. She had her dad's checkbook. She had grandma and grandpa's checkbook, and eventually settled and finally received some of the real estate that her dad had originally wanted her to have. Evil girlfriend lives in Texas now in a big multi-million-dollar house. Funny how she can afford to live there when she has no job. Folks, this is a Jerry Springer estate plan moment. My gosh, it can happen to anyone. If your parents have never opened up about their estate plan and you're the beneficiary, you really should ask, hey, how's your estate plan set up? Man, am I going to have to deal with any weird stuff I heard on this podcast the other day, right? You want to check it out now because those sudden things happen suddenly. We don't have the option of fixing it tomorrow if something happened yesterday. I'm here to help. Again, if you don't have your estate plan done, send me an email, Kraig@kraigstrom.com. If you have your estate plan done, but you're not sure if it's right or you know it needs to be updated because it's so dang old, send me an email, Kraig with a K @kraigstrom.com. That wraps it up for Short Stuff segment. Don't forget, watch out for the next couple episodes coming up. Some really cool interviews that I'm very much looking forward to. Have a good one. Talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Personal Pension Radio podcast. We took notes for you, so if you missed any part of the show, you can find a full transcript of each episode at personalpensionradio.com. Be sure to download your free retirement income crisis report at personalpensionradio.com. While you're at it, we would appreciate some iTunes love. Please leave us a fantastic rating on iTunes by going to personalpensionradio.com/iTunes. Thanks again for listening. Now for the disclosure. Information presented is for educational purposes only and is not intended for solicitation, sale or purchase of any security or financial product. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor and your tax professional before implementing any strategy discussed here. The term personal pension refers to a marketing name designed to educate future retirees and retirees about the economic principles behind creating their own pension-like income. The term personal pension is not intended to be confused with a defined benefit pension plan offered by an employer or by a government entity.